Hello, everyone. Welcome to our webinar today. Appreciate you taking the time to allocate towards learning more and growing your practice and visiting us here at IAMS. We've got an exciting lineup today of a great organization that you may have heard of, Allianz Life, and they're going to be going through some of their exciting products. I had the pleasure to work with them over the years and work for their groups and IMOs, and I'm excited about today's presentation. Before we get started, I do want to cover a couple items, as we have many of you in the audience, maybe kind of a diverse audience. We have some new advisors with us, I'm sure, and some that may be taking a look at us for the first time on our YouTube page, as well as existing producers. Want to thank all for attending. Thank you for considering us. Definitely thank you for joining, and thank you for being a partner and an ongoing advocate of IAMS if you're writing and doing business with us today. So as we go forward, I'll introduce myself. My name is Justin Ford. You may know me from our life and long-term care division. I also am primarily on the annuity side, which is where my expertise lies for the last 23 years as a marketer and wholesaler here for IAMS. And came on board with IAMS about 3 years ago from several other IMO competitors that I'd worked at, and couldn't be happier. So appreciate you allowing me to go forward today, and let's go ahead and jump into the material. So let's first talk about how we can get you paid. I'd like to put more money in your pocket. If you're new with us, this first marketing slide here is if you're new with us here at IAMS, or if you're going to be joining today, maybe you want to get access to the Allianz preferred product lines, and you join us. For the production that you do, your first 180 days with IAMS is important. It's important to you as a insurance professional, an agent, advisor running a business, to be able to see, is the proof really in the pudding? A lot of our work is service related, as we all know, and we don't really have a tangible product. You kind of have to try it out to see. So it's important to you to try out a new organization. It's important for us to fit that bill and to make sure that our first 180 days goes well. So what we're going to do in addition to that is, while you're making that transition over to us, the business that you write and submit during your first 180 days, we're going to give you an additional elevated level of cash refund or marketing support. On the screen here, and if you have interest, later there'll be an opportunity to indicate that you have interest in this, or reach out to your primary contact or marketer, or myself here at IAMS, Justin Ford, and I can get these levels over to you. But essentially the way it works, these are the annuity production levels. Life insurance is about 1/10 of the premium, and single premium life, you get a little bit more of a benefit, so less premium to get the same dollar amount. But at the $250,000 level, you'll see at the top right of the screen, if you submit one application or 10 applications totaling in, or whatever amount, totaling $250,000 during your first 180 days of annuity premium, fixed indexed annuity premium, we are going to cover the following for you. One of the following: 3,000 piece postcard mailing to get you in front of clients, $2,000 in marketing reimbursement, which can go towards reimbursing you for any type of marketing program that you're currently using to draw people to your practice so you can help them, a $1,500 Visa gift card, cash, or a newspaper ad and a marketing collateral package, which is going to include a brochure customized for you, a fact finder customized for your practice, a lead magnet, and a one-page sheet, as well as a microsite for your business. A microsite meaning if you're offering annuities and you have other lines, we can set up a separate page to market that, all the way up through the $1 million level plus. So if you're doing business when you're coming over to us, we'd love to earn that faster and be able to help you out. And also, we're going to pay you for it too. So make sure to let your team know you're interested in that, and we can get you set up. In addition to that, for those in the audience that are already with IAMS, and for you also that are joining, we have an ongoing production system that we call marketing dollars here at IAMS, marketing reimbursement. So you'll see at the bottom of the screen, essentially we pay $100 in marketing reimbursement for every $100,000 in indexed annuity premium, and $200 per $100,000 of single premium life premium. So if you're doing business, say with some of the companies we do SPL with, One America, Baltimore Life, National Western, we're going to pay $200 per $100,000 on that. And then $200 per $10,000 in life target premium. So for those of us that are writing indexed universal life or max funding, future tax-free income, or just working in general with life insurance. $10,000 per target is going to get you $200 built up in that account. Never expires, continues to grow, and we can utilize that for any marketing or business expense that you have. On top of that, you may be in the audience and been referred to us. If you refer a producer to us, much like your business, we grow ours very much the same. We'd prefer to work with people that we already fit with and we already have a comfortable relationship with, and those best come from referrals and introductions. So if you have someone that you also would like to experience the support and service and relationship that you're working on with IAMS, if you have one of those individuals, introduce them to us. Your contact at IAMS, myself, we will take care of the licensing and getting that individual set up, and all that will work as normal. We're going to pay them directly the same compensation that we would pay based on their production, and out of our pocket, not theirs. When they license, we're going to send you a $50 one-time bonus for referring that agent. And then beyond that, as they write business, out of our pocket, we are going to pay you ongoingly for their life relationship with IAMS and yours, the following amounts on their business. So you're going to get essentially a override or basis points on the referee's business as they go. So this is a program where I know I've talked to several of us here in the past that have agents they've referred. There's no limit, 10, 20, 30. We'll pay you for that ongoingly on there and out of our pocket, not theirs. In addition to that, we mentioned the marketing reimbursement, $100 per 100,000. So once you come on board and your 180 days is up with us, you get that ongoing dollar amount, and we'll get those over to you. If you have interest or if you'd like to check your balance, by all means, talk to us, your primary contact here at IAMS or myself. Once you do come on board, we're excited to show you one of the reasons why many producers choose to join IAMS, and it does go back to our strong service backbone. We do have excellent back office support. I know everybody says that, but again, we got to try us out in the first 180 days to make sure that what I'm saying is not just lip service, but we do have industry-leading, award-winning service. We take care of everything from contracting, basically submission to commission. So your contracting, your new business scrubbing, 1035s, medallion signatures for those of us that know that part of the business as well. If you've got money moving over, we can help with that too. Our website, many of the support services like ordering supplies, in-force business forms, life insurance forms, sales tools are all available on our website. So you can access us 24 hours a day. If you can't get a hold of us during the day, you can also go to the website. However, we do ring. We do pick up on a second ring. You always get a live person here with IAMS. You can quote term insurance and take the application right from our website, as well as, we'll talk about it momentarily, but annuity applications. On our site, I would like to point out, if you are licensed with us, make sure you take a look at sales resources at the top of our website. We have a service in there. If you click on sales resources, our sales resource library, you can essentially search by topic, type in anything you'd like: estate planning, buy-sell agreement, Section 162 plans, 7702 compliant, B compliant long-term care insurance. It will pull up a factual compliant document that allows you to put your logo and practice information on it and can act as an education piece to yourself or your clients. Pretty sharp stuff. Online applications for annuities. We utilize Firelight, like many of us, and like Allianz does on the phone call. Most of our life insurance business goes through iPipeline. So we have iGo on our website. However, Allianz Life's IUL, we do use Firelight as well. That's an ever-growing list of companies that are coming on board. And my big story on that is get paid quicker. I mean, we've had policies with cash paid within 24 hours. I'm sure we have better stories too on that. But as companies begin to cut back expenses and identity theft and paperwork issues become a problem, we're seeing more of the digital applications, and we can definitely help. Creative marketing, when it comes to marketing you and your practice, we do have a complete operational advertising and promotions agency in-house. I do pay we pay their salary, benefits programs. They are IAMS employees. The reason we do that is They are then seasoned in the insurance business, annuities, life, our product lines exclusively, which is important because local advertising teams may actually leverage you to educate them on our industry and go from there. So our team will actually focus directly on you, their experience, they know what they're doing, and we can utilize everything from the simplest logo design all the way through advanced increasing your presence on social media. Let us know if you have any interest in creative services or getting your brand out there. In addition to that, speaking of your services in the community, for a complete wealth picture and additional revenue, if those of you in the room are considering picking up your Series 65 to become an investment advisory rep or an RIA, we can help with that. We actively work. We're an insurance-friendly corporate RIA that can work with you directly here from IAMS. If you are already, maybe you're considering stepping down from an RIA for the compliance kind of hassles there and getting into an independent advisory representative situation, we can help with that as well. We've done those too. Everything from cracking open your first Kaplan book, opening up your U10, all the way through helping you move the money over. Please ask about IAMS Wealth Management if you have an interest. We'll have a moment to do a survey question later on that. Our training, 2-day training sessions, we've opened them back up for this year. Our annuity, historic life and annuity academies, we're going to be hosting, getting our schedule out for next year, next spring soon. We're done for the year with these, but excellent opportunity. If you have an interest later, there'll be an opportunity to click that you do, and we'll reach out to you, but we cover everything from large life insurance case design, sharing ideas with other advisors, all the way through annuity ideas as well. We do we have a trip each year, top producer trip. What's unique about this is we have an 18-month qualification period. So 18-month qualification period right now is running through the end of December here. 4.5 million points, essentially 4.5 million in annuity production to qualify for that. And that 18-month period started July 1st. So if you're interested in your standing on that trip, let us know. We do the 18-month period to allow for new producers to come on board and still have time to benefit from the trip without having to wait a year. We're going to be going to up in the Seaside Sanctuary out there in beautiful Kiawah Island, South Carolina. And for our top 20, we've got an extension on the trip, April 18th through April 20th, where they will be staying and transferring to Charleston Place in historic downtown Charleston. Should be a great time. Includes a guest as well. We are on Facebook and LinkedIn, and I appreciate your time. Without further ado, I am going to introduce our first presenter and speaker today, and both actually, Matt Smith and Dylan Dressel from Allianz Life. Matt, can you hear me okay?
I sure can. Can you hear me?
I can, absolutely. Now, we're going to switch this technology over and see if we can get your screen, and I think we'll be cooking with grease here.
Yep, we just got to make sure it's the right screen. Take a second here.
Perfect.
So I think we're good there. And then...
And I believe you may be able to, just either drag onto the screen there.
Yeah, let's try that. All right, it's sharing a different screen.
Oh, yeah, let's see.
Oh, here we go. 1 second. Just taking a minute.
No problem. So you guys are out in Minneapolis, and probably not quite as hot as here. Here we go.
You'd be surprised. We had 98. There it is. Perfect. We actually had 98 degrees recently. I think it was about a week or two ago with the feels like 106. So
oh my gosh.
If it's not negative 60 here like we've had in the past, it feels like 106. We can't get a break. So, well, we all make choices, and for whatever reason, we choose to live in Minnesota. So
that's great.
But first and foremost, thank you everybody for having me here today. Thanks Justin and IAMS for having us. As Justin said, my name is Matt Smith, Director of Sales with Allianz Life. I work with IAMS and IAMS advisors across the industry. Joining me on the call for a little bit here, he's got about 15 minutes with us, is Dylan Dressel, who's going to cover the first 5 to 10 minutes of our presentation today. Dylan is the senior internal wholesaler that is dedicated to working with IAMS advisors across the country. So I wanted to get him on here to introduce himself as well. So little bit of an agenda here for you so you can get an idea of what we're going to be covering today. First and foremost, I want you to walk away with who your Allianz team is. We're going to be sending out many PDFs, one of them being who your specific team is here at Allianz, which includes myself and Dylan. We're going to be covering the ABC product, the Allianz Benefit Control product. It's currently the #1 selling fixed indexed annuity in the industry. Therefore, the #1 selling product at Allianz right now. Very excited to tell you about that product. We're going to be talking about index lock, which is the opportunity for you to lock in gains throughout the contract anniversary. And you can actually set higher or lower targets now around the index and streamline that process so that you can lock in the highest gain without having to watch it every single day. Many people are using it kind of like a stop loss with stock, which we'll show you about here momentarily. So that's very exciting as well. And then finally, I actually get to announce this as of 15 minutes ago. We have a new enhancement on our Accumulation Advantage product that starts next week, September 5th, that we are absolutely ecstatic about. You're going to get a guaranteed 7.5% on the product your first year. If you allocate to the fixed rate, the second year will be a 5%. I'll get into more of that here momentarily, but we're very excited about that as well. And while I'm talking about all of this today, the main feature is going to be us talking about increasing income and why it's important for you to have within a financial portfolio for your clients some form of increasing income so that you can combat rising healthcare costs, rising inflation, and rising taxes. So as we cover all this today, that's what the main theme is going to be. The first thing I want to show you, like I said, this is your Allianz team. This is who's dedicated to working with you here at Allianz. Julie Harkins is my boss, manager, and then we have Patrick Butcher and myself. We are the director of sales. I work with IAMS specifically. Ellen Donovan is our external wholesaler. She would be working with you in person. She's the one who would come visit with you in person, do a lunch and learn, do some kind of training for you, or host some kind of a client event if that's something you're interested in. And then, of course, Mr. Dylan Dressel there, who's on the line with us, and Charlie Graywood. They are our internal wholesalers. You would primarily be working with Dylan. And I'm actually going to turn it over here to Dylan now to go over the ABC product, and he's going to be leaving us in about 12 minutes. But Dylan, why don't I turn it over to you and let you get started on that ABC product.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks, Matt. Appreciate it. So as Matt mentioned, the ABC, that's been the #1 product in the industry and our top seller as well. We recently ran a promotion earlier this year where we had a nice bonus out of the gate. It was about 32% bonus. We ended up doing a little over $3 billion, I want to say $3.5 billion in about a month and a half. So something that a lot of advisors are finding to be resourceful, useful, mainly for that increasing income. So one of the things when you look at any of our products, we always like to have kind of a funny, funky little acronym just to give you a better understanding of how we design them, how we build them. ABC really isn't any different. When we look at the ABC, we always refer to the A for anytime income. One of the biggest things when designing this product is we wanted to have something that was extremely flexible. We had other products where there was a time constraint on how long you had to hold it in order to take income. There is no time constraints on this product. You can take income truly anytime, whether it's immediately after it's issued or any monthly anniversary after. So it gives you and the client a lot of flexibility on when you can start that initial paycheck. The B stands for benefit control. So flexibility is going to kind of continue to be the theme of this product, but there's actually 2 different interest bonuses that you get on the policy. So you can choose one or the other. Again, it gives you a way to kind of design it and, cater it towards your needs on how you want the product to grow. And then last and most importantly is C, stands for cost of living. I know with inflation being through the roof, it sounds like we could have another spike in inflation here coming up, but cost of living, that increase in income, that is something that we do extremely well here. That is really our bread and butter. Not only do we want to give your clients a guaranteed paycheck, but we want to make sure that we can continue to grow it so that they can maintain their same lifestyle throughout retirement. So I want to move on here. If we look at some of the fast facts or the product profile. So in order to get into the policy, it's a $20,000 minimum to open up an ABC contract. We'll issue anywhere from age 0 to 80. 80 is our top level there. 18 months to add additional premium. So you can fund it right out of the gate. And then if you want to add premium down the road, you would still have 18 months to do that. Not only will it still get the premium bonus right that was initially on the policy, but it is still fully commissionable, any additional premium that you put into the policy as well. 10-year surrender, 10-year decreasing surrender might vary by state. And then the last thing I want to point out, at least on this page, is marital status. One thing that I really like about this policy is you actually have the ability to add a spouse at any point on the contract as long as you haven't started income. We know there's a lot of different situations that come up, things can change. So actually having the ability to add a spouse who can still qualify for joint income is a huge benefit, I think, that kind of goes unseen. Having that ability to not have to have them on the initial contract is something that I always like to point out. All right, so with that being said, I want to move on here to how this thing's going to grow. So I know I talked about a premium bonus and an interest bonus. This is a two-value product. So we have our accumulation value, that's really our cash value. And then we have our protected income value or your benefit base. So there's a premium bonus that you're going to get right out of the gate. That's currently at 25%. There is no vesting period for that bonus, so it would be applied right away. If you took immediate income, it would be based off of that 25% bonus as well. And that only goes towards the PIV or the benefit base. That's one thing I always like to be very clear on is when we're buying this product or looking at this product, I want to make sure that we're utilizing it for this PIV value because that's where we're going to focus on most of our growth. So not only are you going to get that premium bonus right out of the gate, we're also going to give you an interest bonus throughout the life of the contract. So this is a way, again, to help really maximize the returns that we can get. And in the deferral phase, it really allows you to decide how you want the policy to grow. And then last but not least, I mentioned, when we're buying it for the PIV, the only two ways to access the PIV are through lifetime income, or it can be taken as an enhanced death benefit. So those are really the two main ways you'd want to position or look at this product. All right, so I mentioned the two different interest bonuses. So we have what's called the balanced interest bonus and the accelerated interest bonus. I like to look at this as the deferral phase versus the income phase. So in deferral, you have the choice to decide between one or the other. You have to pick 100% accelerated or balanced. Most of the time, we're going to look at this accelerated bonus because it's going to give us 250% of our indexed returns towards the PIV value. So it's really going to maximize our death benefit or that PIV for income down the road. Balanced option is a little bit, as it obviously more balanced. You only get 150% growth towards the PIV, but you're going to get the full credit towards the accumulation value. So most of the time, we don't see people use the balanced as long as accelerated is an option. I look at the balanced option more as that's what it's going to look like during the income phase. Because on this product, when you turn on income, we automatically put you back into that balanced option. So again, that's kind of why I referred it more as the deferral versus the income phase on this. We have a numbers example here too. This just gives you really a good idea of what the difference between the two bonuses are. So let's say your client had $100,000 put in to that balance option. You're going to get that PIV bonus of 25% right out of the gate. And let's say at the end of that first year, you got a 4% return. you get that full credit towards the cash value, and then you're going to get 1.5 times that towards the PIV. So you'd actually get a 6% credit towards that PIV. After 1 year, you'd have roughly about $132,000. Now, where this accelerated bonus gains so much traction is that same scenario with that 4% return. You can see there's a little bit of a trade-off that accumulation value isn't going to get as much growth. You're only getting a 2% credit there, but we can actually turn that 4% into a 10% or a double-digit credit on the PIV side. So instead of having 132,000 after 1 year, we have almost 138,000. So really, this is designed to help us maximize that PIV value. We really want to make sure that we're growing it as much as possible and as fast as possible. So that way, if you do turn on income or you do have the situation where it needs to be taken as a death benefit, we can provide as much value to the client as possible. Again, here's just another numbers example. You can flip back quick. Again, just showing the difference. This is over about a 6-7 year period. Same returns, but the longer you have it, the bigger that gap's going to get. I mean, 180,000 versus 150,000. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. And then here, this is an example of what our increase in income would look like. As you can see, we have our current payouts on the top right. These actually need to be updated. So as Matt mentioned, we have some enhancements coming for September 5th. Part of those enhancements is an increase to our payout percentages. So you're going to see a 10 basis point increase on all payouts, single and joint. So instead of having a 4% payout from 60 to 69, it's going to be 4.1. Now you might see these are a little bit lower compared to industry standard. Reason for that is we're going to place more emphasis on the growth of the product. So we want to grow that PIV at a larger rate, and in turn that'll offset the lower payout percentages. And then once we're ready for income, we can take that 4% payout, or in this case 4.1, take it by that PIV, and that's going to ultimately determine our first paycheck. In this case, it was $10,000. And then where you're really going to see a lot of the benefit of this product is each year you see a positive return that gets applied directly to your previous paycheck. So in year 6 here, when we turned on income, we got a 3% return. Can't forget about that interest bonus that you have throughout the life of the contract. It actually turns it into a 4.5% credit. So after 1 year, that paycheck is going to grow from $10,000 to $10,450. Now, the nice part with that is you can see in year 7, we didn't see an increase, but that income doesn't go down. Once you've seen a positive increase, that is now your new floor. It cannot go down from there. So it's only going to continue to grow. The way we look at it is it's like having a job that you can't get fired from, but you have the opportunity for a pay raise each and every year. I know if I was given that deal, I would take it. Matt, maybe there's something we can do about that here at Allianz on the internal side. But yeah, again, anytime there's a positive credit applied directly to your last paycheck, extremely simple. And I think that's one of the ways we can have that increasing income compared to a lot of other carriers. And with that, Matt, I want to turn it back over to you. I know you're going to cover increasing income in a little bit more in-depth fashion.
Perfect. Yeah, and I'm going to go back one slide here. Thank you, Dylan, first and foremost. So what's beautiful about our increase in income story in comparison to our competitors is that once the accumulation value runs to 0, they continue to receive lifetime increase in income for the rest of their life with 150% bonus to the index return. That's going to complement that increase in income story. So if we continue that example, $10,450 is their next payment there, right? They get a 5% return the next year. They get 150% of whatever that return is, bringing it to 7.5. And now we increase the payment from $10,450 to $11,234. Next year they get 4%. We give them 6, goes up to $11,908. Even when the accumulation value runs to 0, they're going to continue to receive this story. All of our competitors, they don't receive it once the accumulation value runs to 0. So that's the biggest differential between us and our competitors, and where we really shine. Now, with that being said, there's a lot of yield out there in the market right now, right? These are the best interest rate environment we've been in about 15 years, if not longer. And every carrier has what I call eggs in baskets. And some carriers put their eggs into the guaranteed space, that basket. Some put more into the accumulation space. We've always been the carrier that's focused more on increasing income. But now that the environment's changed, we're also starting to dabble in accumulation, which we're going to be talking about here momentarily. But it hasn't changed the fact that we're still a big believer in increasing income, being a part of every single financial portfolio to address things like what's on the screen in front of you, to address rising healthcare costs, to address inflation that's inevitably been horrendous over the past couple of years, and from what I've read is probably going to continue to get worse over the next couple of years. And then taxes going up potentially. We're currently in the lowest tax rate environment we've ever been in. Chances are in 2026 those are going to go up because of the $32 trillion of debt that we're in. Obviously, I could be wrong in saying that. They could go down too, but the writing's on the wall that they probably are going to be going up sometime over the next 10, 20, 30 years, probably multiple times. And so with that being said, we have some statistics here. Healthcare is projected to increase by 5.5% annually over the next few years here from now to 2027. Inflation in 2022 was 8%, with the long-term average since inception of them tracking inflation 1960 of 3.8%. And taxes are unpredictable, like I said before, but most people would agree that the taxes are going to be going up here in the future. So as I mentioned before, a few other stats for you. The overall price increase was 903.96% since 1960. So they observed in a study from 1960 to 2022, 3.8% per year on average inflation rate. That's a 903% increase over that amount of time. And right here, an item that cost $100 in 1960 currently costs $1,003.96 at the beginning of 2023. And I remember when we launched increasing income many, many years ago, 2008, I think it was. And many people said, why would I not take the guaranteed option? You have no idea that this increasing income story is going to work. And we have no idea if healthcare costs are going to go up. We have no idea if taxes are going to go up, or if inflation is going to go up. Now, in that time frame, I think taxes actually went down in 2016. They went down a little bit, right? But healthcare costs definitely went up over that time frame. And inflation, now more than ever, over the past 5 to 10 years, we've really felt it for the first time in a long time. So we've been right in saying that there is a need for increasing income in these portfolios. Now, a few things about increasing income, like I've said before, like Dylan said before, once they get the increase, it is permanent. Increases can happen even after the account goes to zero. So there's many benefits for having our increasing income story in comparison to our competitors. And we also have a piece I'm going to be sending out to Justin afterwards. He'll probably be sending it on over to you. That's talking about more of the proof in the pudding, right? Because like I said, back in 2008, we had people saying, you have no idea if this is actually going to work. And now about a year or two ago, we came out with a deep analysis of all the individuals that we've taken on as clients over the past, call it 15, 16 years, to see who's had success with increasing income. And so out of 42,416 clients, I think that's what it says down here, right there, you'll see at the bottom, out of 42,416 fixed indexed annuity contracts with an opportunity for an income increase, 90% of those individuals received at least one increase, and 35% received a payment increase every single year. And of those, with more than one opportunity, 86% received an income increase more than once. So very powerful data here. We'll be sending to you two here momentarily. And in that same piece, this chart here shows that increasing income opportunity over the average life expectancy of a 65-year-old female. And then during the accumulation phase, we're assuming 3% average rate of return. So nothing crazy, just 3%. Plus, though, that 250% accelerated interest bonus that we talked about here momentarily ago. During the distribution on a 3% average rate of return, and then 150% balance interest bonus moving forward once they turn on the income. And as you can see here on this piece, the initial lifetime withdrawal has more than doubled by the time the client has turned 87. So very powerful data here. We're going to send this to you after the presentation. I'll send it to Justin. He'll get it on over to you.
Hey, thank you. Hey, Matt.
Yeah.
We just got a question on that. That includes, if I recall, that includes the fixed account as well. So if somebody allocated in the fixed account, that would be part of the pay increases, on the products too, right?
That's correct. That's a great question. And actually right now, that's a perfect example because the fixed rate on this product is 3%, right? So
Wow.
if somebody was in the deferral period and they wanted to allocate to the 3%, they would get 2.5% added to that, 250% added to that, bringing them to 7.5% guaranteed every year they hold the product in deferral. And then once they turn on income, it would be revert to what we call the balanced approach, like Dylan talked about momentarily ago, and that would be 150%. So that would be 4.5% in the distribution phase, guaranteed.
Nice. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Great question though. Now, here's a slide going over all the index options you have. I'm not going to go over these in depth. That's not the main objective of today. To give you, though, a frame of reference, like I said before, the fixed rate is currently at 3%. The S&P 500 annual point-to-point cap is at 6%. Most individuals are using our 2-year options right now, which are currently at about, let's call it 245%. Or 185%, depending on if you're in our S&P 500 futures index, PIMCO, or Bloomberg. Then we have our 5-year option, which is all the way up to 260%. And it's not a traditional 5-year option in the sense that you have to wait the entire 5 years. What we're going to dive into here momentarily is something called index lock, which gives you the opportunity to lock in at any time and then start locking your gains and then start over a new 5-year period or a new 2-year or 1 year with that portion of your allocation at that time. So we'll talk about that here momentarily, but just to let you know, the 5-year option is not a true 5-year in the sense that you have to wait the 5 years because you can lock in your gains at any time and start again the following contract year. Now, continuing on, there's 2 more things I want to talk about with the ABC before we start to talk about index lock. 1 being our income multiplier benefit and 2 being how the death benefit works. So the income multiplier benefit, it's on the screen right here. It's available in the 6th year, so after 5 years. It's not a main selling point to this product, but it is built into the product, and it's nice for clients to be able to have access to this. So let's say that they're in the 6th year, they turn on income, it's $20,000 a year. And as you can see at the top here, if they're confined to a nursing home, long-term care facility, hospital, or assisted living, or unable to perform 2 out of 6 activities of daily living, we would double the income at that time. So as you can see, it goes from 20,000 to 40,000. They would continue to receive index returns, increasing the income. We just talked about increasing income a little bit ago. They'd continue to receive that. And then once the accumulation value ran to 0, the payment would revert back to what it was when they turned on the income multiplier benefit, plus any gains they received over that period. And they continue to receive lifetime increasing income for the rest of their life. This applies not only for the individual on the contract, but if they have a spouse added to it, that individual would get this as well. And then if, let's say, that individual passed away, the spouse would take over the contract and they would get lifetime increasing income for the rest of their life. So again, not a main feature by any means, but definitely a powerful part of this product that's a benefit for the client to have. And one nice thing too is that this is available in the state of California as well. Believe it or not, we're pretty excited to get that approved, but this is available in that state as well and all other states. Now, the last thing I'm going to talk to you about today on the ABC product is the death benefits. We had to cap the death benefits. It's, as you can see at the top there, lesser for the protected income value at death, or 250% of the accumulation value. Reason being is when we filed this product, every single state came to us and said, you need to cap this death benefit or else this is essentially life insurance with how lucrative the death benefit can become. So with that being said, this hypothetical example number 1 here, client passes away, the beneficiary is looking at their options. There's $100,000 in the accumulation value, but the protected income value has grown to $225,000, the client's beneficiary could take the $225,000 PIV value over a minimum of 5 years. All right? This cap doesn't apply because it's under 250% of the accumulation value. However, in hypothetical example number 2, client passes away, beneficiary is looking at a lump sum accumulation value of $100,000 versus a protected income value of $300,000. We would apply that cap in this scenario. And we take 250% of whatever the accumulation value is at time of death. That'd be in this scenario $250,000. And now the client would be able to take $250,000 over a minimum of 5 years. So more confusing than other products like our 222 that's not capped, but the reason being is that 250% participation we have of the index return on the accelerated option, it can grow that protected income value very substantially. And again, every state came back and said, you got to cap this or it's life insurance. And then also, in complete transparency, I don't think Allianz would be able to afford it because of how lucrative that death benefit can become. So let's transition over to index lock. We came out with index lock in May of 2019. We called it manual lock. The opportunity for you to lock in gains throughout the contract anniversary to capitalize on the highest gain possible for your clients. But you had to go in and manually do it, right? You couldn't set any kind of targets. And we got a lot of great feedback on this, but people said, hey, you know, I got a business to run here. I can't be going in and doing this for every single one of my clients. I got to focus on, you know, scalability and growth of my company. So about 2 years and a whole pandemic later, we came out with what we call auto lock, which is the opportunity for you to set those higher or lower targets around the index so that you can capitalize on the highest gain possible. And so I'm going to skip over that slide here real quick. This is what it looks like when you go in to actually utilize this feature, okay? So let's say that somebody is looking at their contract 3 months before the policy anniversary date, and the advisor and the client are looking at it together, and they've got 7.77 reflecting on the PIMCO index and 8.9% reflecting on the Bloomberg index. And they say, you know what, that 8.9% looks pretty good. I'm just going to go ahead and lock that in. So they select manual lock, and then on the contract anniversary date, about 3 months later, the client will receive 8.9% to that portion of their allocation. But they say, you know what, that 7.77 on the PIMCO is pretty good, but I think I could get better on that index. However, I don't want to lose the gains that I've already received. So they set a floor of 7%, a lower target, and they set a upper target or a cap of 12%. And now, between now and the policy anniversary date 3 months from now, if it hits the 7% or the 12%, it's automatically going to lock. But what we've noticed in the past almost 4 years now, or actually, let's see, 2 years now of having the auto lock version of it, is that most advisors and clients are not setting the upper target at all. They're only setting the lower target and treating it like a stop loss with stock. Because let's say that this 7.77 then went to 9. You could change the floor to 8. And then let's say that 9 went to 12. You could change the floor to 10 or 11 or whatever it may be. Now at any time, if it hits the floor, it's automatically going to trigger and it's going to lock. And then whatever the gain is will be applied on the next policy anniversary date. But with that being said, here's the slide that I had before. I'm going to send you this piece. It's a client-friendly piece we have. And it shows that out of about 8,030 clients, you can see here in the fine print, the average return to the account value, not the income value, the account value for individuals who have utilized index lock has been 6.3% on average. But think about that for a second. If you look at the fine print, that's 2019 to 2022. So that's taken into consideration one of the lowest interest rate environments we've ever seen. And that's not including, like I said, any kind of interest bonuses. So if you were in the ABC at that time frame and you got a 6.3% return, you would actually receive north of 15% to your income back. And fixed indexed annuities, the way they're priced across the industry, not just at Allianz, is to be about 200 to perform about 200 to 300 basis points higher than the 10-year treasury over a 10-year period. So for a long time, we were saying around 3 to 5% over 10 years. So for us to have raw data, not a back-tested illustration showing hypothetical examples, but actual contracts where we can prove that they received a 6.3% return on average to their account value and one of the lowest interest rate environments ever, we feel like that's a pretty powerful story, and we want it to be a story that we share with you and that you share with your clients, because this isn't even just about that number, right? It's not just about the 6.3% return. What this is more about is you being able to add value to your clients' fixed indexed annuities in a way that you've never been able to add prior to index lock being around. Because I'm sure many people on this call, and I know many people in the industry, have sat across the desk from a client and said, hey, unfortunately, you got a 0 this year. And the solution to that has always been, well, let's go ahead and diversify and see how we perform next year at this time. But now you have the opportunity to call your client, or to say to that client, you know, there's actually a way where we can monitor your index throughout the contract anniversary moving forward. And we can actually go as far as to lock it in or set higher and lower targets around it throughout the contract anniversary. If you have a number in mind, you know, let me know. We'll monitor this for you once a month. And if it hits that number, we'll go ahead and lock it for you. That's changing the conversation in a way you haven't been able to before with fixed indexed annuities. And we're pretty excited about the continued growth of this feature and what's to come. We're going to continue to update this piece. But just alone for clients to, or advisors to be able to call their clients and say, hey, you know, your policy anniversary date is in 3 months. I currently show, though, that you're at a 12% return on your PIMCO index. Now, we don't have to go ahead and lock that in, but I can set a floor for 10%. And I can guarantee you right now that between now and the time we meet 3 months from now, you're going to get at least 10%. That's going to create a relationship with the client in a new way you haven't been able to before. So we're very excited about this. Now, as innovative as that is, we felt like it wasn't innovative enough. We wanted to take things to the next level. So in August of last year, we came out with My Point to Point, which is the opportunity for you to lock in gains throughout the contract anniversary, utilizing a multi-year strategy, though. You remember a little bit ago, I talked about using a 5-year point to point, right? So with the 2-year and 5-year options, you'll notice when you look at our rate sheet, and I'll send the rate sheet for our ABC product to Justin after this. You'll notice when you look at the rate sheet, the par rates every single year increase, okay, in the 2-year and the 5-year options. And the reason being is that if a client, let's say, goes into the 5-year, and these are just examples, they're actually a lot higher than this, but if the client goes into the 5-year, and in the middle of the 3rd year, they see a 10% return, they can go ahead and lock in that 10%. That'll be applied on the next policy anniversary date, at which time they'll get to start over a new 5-year, a new 2-year, a 1-year, go to the fixed rate, whatever it may be. So like I said a couple of times now, it's not a true 5-year because you don't have to wait the whole 5 years. At any point in time, if they see a return, they can go ahead and lock that in. It'll be applied on the next contract anniversary date, and then they get to start over a new allocation at that time. So let's go through an example of what that means. We have a client here, a client couple. They say, let's go ahead and go into that 5-year 100%, right? I'd probably diversify more, but they say, let's go all in. So they go all in, and in the 2nd year, they see a 10% return on whatever index this is. And that's applied on the next contract anniversary date. Then they say, you know what? We're going to go ahead and you know, not do a 5-year this time. We're going to go ahead and do a 2-year. But the 2-year, the entire time, doesn't perform at all. They don't lose anything. They just don't gain anything. Now their index starts down here at 106. And they say, you know what? Let's go ahead and go all in on that 5-year again. That seemed to work out really well for us. But this time they go all in and they let it ride. And then in the 4th year, they see that they have a 25% return. They get 110% of whatever the return is in that year, giving them a 28% return in the middle of the 4th year. And then on the next policy anniversary date, they get credited 28%, and they get to decide if they want to go into, again, a fixed rate, 1 year, 2 year, 5 year, whatever it may be. Now, many people say to us, how do we regulate all this? How do we keep track of all our clients and whatnot? We have what's called an index lock report. It literally takes about 15 to 20 seconds for you to run, where you can see, let's say you wanted to see every single one of your clients who are north of 6% for the year or north of 10%, whatever it may be. You just run that index lock report, and you can see every single client then who's over whatever specified rate you chose. So if you wanted to see every client over 6%, it would pull every single client over 6%. And then you could go in and set higher, lower targets around that client. You could lock them in, whatever it may be. But it really gives you the opportunity to identify those wins immediately. Many advisors will come to me and say, how do I do this with all my clients at once? Well, you don't. You start to pick a number. Most people start with the double digits, and they say, okay, every single client who has north of 10%, I'm going to go ahead and either lock them in, or I'm going to set a floor of 8%, right? So you start small, try to start to familiarize yourself with how the whole process works by doing that. And then we have many individuals who are having a tremendous amount of success with this and getting more referrals, getting more business from the clients because of it, etc. Now, the final thing I'm going to be talking about today, this was actually announced industry-wide about 51 minutes ago. We are coming out with an Allianz accumulation advantage enhancement. As I said before, I was talking about yields and how we've always been strong in the increase in income space, and that's just kind of the space we have chosen to be strong in. Now, over the past year or so, we've really started to put our best foot forward in the accumulation space. We have more exciting announcements coming later this year and early next year for the accumulation space. However, right now, one very exciting announcement is the enhancement that I'm going to talk about here momentarily. Before I do that, real quick on this product, it's a 10-year product. You can see the surrender schedule on the right-hand side here. Issue ages, like the ABC, are 0 to 80. Minimum premium is $20,000. Flexible premium the first 18 months. There's premium bands, so you're going to get higher interest rates, caps, spreads, participation rates for anything north of 100,000. You're going to get less competitive ones for under 100,000. And then the last thing I'll mention, the last two things. One, free withdrawals on this product and on all our products are 10% based on premiums paid. So there's many advisors out there who like to use this as an alternative to lottery and bonds. So if you put in $400,000, your client would have up to $40,000 of a free withdrawal years 2 through 10, not on the account value, on the premiums paid. And finally, the death benefit for this product is nice and easy. It's just a lump sum of whatever the accumulation value is at the time of death. Now here is the announcement. Here's the enhancement that we are making. So right now, this isn't any kind of a promotion. There's not like a limited time on this. However, the 10-year treasury right now, like I said before, is higher than it's been in about 15 years. We don't know how long that's going to last. So as long as we're able to afford this, we're going to keep doing it. So on $100,000 or more premium, the first year, if you allocate to the fixed rate, your client would get a guaranteed rate of 7.5%. And then they'd have the option of allocating the second year to the fixed rate with a guaranteed rate of 5%. If it's less than $100,000, they'd get a guaranteed rate of 7% right now, with the second year being 4.5%. Now, after that, or if you wanted to only utilize a portion of this, let's say you only wanted to do 50% into the fixed rate and get half of 7.5, you could do that. Here's what the rates are on the product for north of $100,000. I'm not going to read through all of them, but I will highlight a few that stick out the most. The S&P 500 annual point-to-point cap is currently 10.5%. We have many individuals utilizing that 2-year strategy with the index lock strategy with 305, 300, and 325 for the 2-year participation rates. However, there is an allocation charge on that of 95 basis points. Or we have individuals using that 5-year strategy right now. Let's say if they locked in the 4th year, right, they get 310% of whatever they locked in at for this Bloomberg dynamic. If they locked in the second year in this PIMCO, they'd get 270% of whatever they locked in, and at that point, so on and so forth. And that is what I have for everybody today. I know that is a wealth of information that I just went over. I do want to leave the last 5 minutes for questions. Before I do that, though, I just want to say one last big thank you to Justin and IAMS for having us on this call today. Like I said before, I'm going to be sending Justin a bunch of material. He's going to get that over to you. But I'll turn it over to you, Justin, for any questions or closing comments you have.
Oh, excellent. Thank you so much. And I did have a question from the audience. Remind me on the 150% and then 250% on the income accounts. Are those moving parts, or once the contract's issued, are those interest rate bonuses locked in for the issued contract holder, or are they like a cap where they can move them?
Nope, they're locked in. That's a product feature. So once they purchase the product, those are locked in. Great question. Those cannot change. That's contractual once they purchase the product.
Excellent. That is a great question. Appreciate that. And as always, appreciate you, Matt. I'm going to go ahead. I've got a couple questions for everybody here that I'm going to send out. And if you would take a second to answer these polling questions, it's how we best follow up. Matt, again, thank you. I'll get those items from you and make sure that they're part of this. First polling question here, and we'll get those out to you. First polling question is, those of you that would like to go ahead and appoint for Allianz preferred to have access to these products, especially that new one, which that's news to me. It kind of came together great, Matt. The 7.5% and 5%, that accumulation advantage is going to be a hot product. So if you want a license to get access to that, just let us know, and we will get the Assurance Bay contract over to you and make sure we get you on that approved platform. And as people are voting in there too, we've just got 2 more questions. And then in addition to that, I'd say that if anything, if you do have just questions in general, feel free to email me at justin@iamsinc.com or your primary contact here at IAMS. We can get those answered for you. So appreciate it. I'm going to go ahead and close that poll and go on to the next one here. And the next question is going to be for our up and coming academies or training events. Would you be interested? Do we need to put you on the list for any type of training or agent sharing sessions that we do? And we always want to keep track of who would like to attend those as we come up with new ones throughout the year. Appreciate that. And our final question for the day is going to be, here we go. Okay, so we've now heard about this great new products. This is timely here. Would you like to hear more about IAMS preset or scheduled lead appointment programs? So are you looking for more people to see? Would you like to hear about IAMS's updated appointment programs for the year? We'd love to get that out to you and then also talk with you. We'll send you our vendor booklet and then discuss different options with you that we've noticed throughout the year or negotiated with appointment programs. So Matt, again, appreciate your time at Allianz. Always a pleasure. And everybody on the call, appreciate your time too, and your affiliation with IAMS. Have a great day, and we'll be talking to you soon. Thanks again.